What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Rosh Reviews, where today we are in something very, very special. This is a 2015 BMW M3 F80, and I've always had quite a bit of love for this car because I really think, in my personal opinion, it's one of the most beautiful M cars BMW has ever made. You just have a really good look of this car, and it just fits all, it ticks all the boxes, really. You know, it looks good. It's got a lot of nice, carbon fiber. It's the right size. I feel the proportions of this vehicle really do suit that kind of sports sedan profile. And I also love the bonnet bulge. I really like how, you've got that little bulge in the bonnet up front. And I just think it's a really eye-pleasing vehicle. Now, I've never been a huge BMW fan guy, but, it's something with this car that I kind of can understand why this is so popular. Because, just driving it now, I do feel like you could live with this car. It's got enough niceties in here. It's soft enough that you can daily drive this car, though I will say that the suspension is quite rough, even in comfort mode here. But again, it does feel like a livable car, and there is quite a bit of space in here. So, the driver's seat, you got tons of adjustability, you got tons of room actually up front in here. Even in the rear, there is actually quite a bit of room, which, I think they've done a really good job in this vehicle to capture that much interior room when this is still kind of got that smallish kind of sedan vibe about it. It's not a small sedan, but it's definitely a lot smaller than a Falcon or, any of the HSVs and Holdens I've driven. It definitely does feel that little bit more compact and sporty. Now, up front, under that glorious bonnet bulge, we have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6. Now, this is, it is a really nice engine, this one. It pulls really, really hard. Makes about 425 horsepower and about 406 pound-foot of torque from factory. And it'll do 0 to 100 in a claimed 4 seconds. Now, that is with the 7-speed dual clutch that we do have today. Now, if you had the 6-speed manual option, which I am very, very happy they have that option, I think it is slightly slower, but only by a couple of tenths of a second. If it was me personally, though, I really do think I would probably opt for the dual clutch, even though I am a massive manual fanboy. I think just with the whole sense of this car, it is rapid with this dual clutch. It really does transform the car a little bit into like a mini supercar. Obviously you do get that more connection with the manual, though I've never driven one. I'm gonna have to get one on the show one day, but I really am a fan of this dual clutch. Now, I have driven the E92 M3, and to be honest, when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, it doesn't feel all that different. Doesn't really. You still got that bonnet bulge. A lot of the controls and like the vibe in here is still kind of that old school BMW vibe. This one does feel a little bit more modern with the infotainment screen, and the updated climate controls here. But I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge, fan of this infotainment system. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff that you can do, Bluetooth. It's got satellite navigation. A lot of the standard features are in there, but it's just a little bit lackluster, I think, for a car like this. You can go down into your vehicle settings, vehicle information here, and there's actually a sports display mode. You click on it, and literally it only shows you your power and your torque in real time, and there's no other pages. So like there's nothing. And I think in a car like this, they're really missing the mark, because You know, if you go into even some of the cheaper model cars like the Mustangs, you know, in particular, I recently reviewed the Jeep Trackhawk, and there is just a plethora of cool little gadgets, gizmos, you know, timer features that are in those cars that just make it so enjoyable to put your right foot down. And I think in a car like this, they really should do more in terms of track apps. It really would make this car just that much more fun and engaging. And just on the interior of this vehicle, you know, there is a lot of real carbon fiber here. It feels really nice. I like that, though I do get the sense that it's just too plain. Everything is dark. You know, it just, there's not even any contrast stitching. You know, when I did the E92 M3, we had some nice, beautiful blue contrast stitching, you know, and it made it feel a little bit nicer inside. This one, you know, with the white outside, the black inside, I think it's just very boring. I don't think it kind of pops. Some of the newer models, though, I will say their interiors are absolutely gorgeous. You know, you can get some white interiors, which just really are stunning. Now, just coming up onto some windier roads here, there is a M button here. Let's just engage that, hit confirm. This kind of changes the car a little bit here, and let's just see if we can get some sounds. Go through the paddles here. This does have a full aftermarket exhaust system as well, so get some nice little pops. So let's go. Jesus Christ, man alive. This is a car that when it's in its comfort mode settings, it is kind of like really mundane, and when you put it into its paces, it's like you have awoken the giant, because it really hauls. I'm talking, when this thing pulls, it is pulling you, man. The pull on this really does remind me of a Barra, and you know, some people might laugh at that analogy, but my goodness, this thing, once you get it up to like 3.5, 4,000 RPM, you get that engagement, and it is full on. I tell you what, you know, this thing will burn through tires like nothing at speed, and you know, the noise when you really lay into it is really satisfying also. And the crackles from that full exhaust system again, my goodness. The thing about this car, you know, being rear wheel drive, it feels like it has grip, but at the same time, when you're pushing it, it also feels like it is on the edge, you know, quite a lot. And, you know, you really do feel like you got to be careful when you're pushing this car, especially around a bend, because it will just light up. You know, it'll kick out, no issues. It is something else. Now, this has had a boot mod 3, I think it's called. Now, some BMW guys might know what that is. I believe it's like kind of a flash tuner thing where you can set up the M buttons to have like a street mode and kind of like a racetrack mode. So I believe right now I'm in the racetrack mode. That's why we're getting some of these crazy backfires, and the performance really awakens. And when I go back into that comfort setting, you know, it really feels like a livable kind of street car. So, you know, it is cool to have kind of that real Jekyll and Hyde personality, because I'll tell you, there is a, there's a big difference. Now, prices for these cars on the used market are actually getting really affordable. It kind of actually surprised me when I actually dived in to look at this car. From new, it was expensive. You know, this thing was around $156,000 starting off here in Australia, and you know, that was a lot of change. But you know, on the used market now, you can grab yourself a pretty decent bargain with, you know, the average M3 F80 nowadays taking around $65,000 to $85,000, depending obviously on condition and, you know, kilometers and that. But this particular one is for sale right now at CarGiantWA, and it's under $70,000. And you know, I actually think that is really well priced because the performance, the practicality, you know, ability of this vehicle. You know, you've got a good boot, great back seats, comfortable up the front. You know, the fuel economy isn't terrible. It's claimed at around 11 liters per 100K, so, you know, similar to a Falcon, you know, an XR6 Turbo or something. You know, it's not that bad. And it really does do everything you want. You know, you can take this to the track. It can be a normal drive car there, you know, your daily. And then when you get on the track, you engage that M race mode. And boy, you know, this thing really awakens, and, you know, you can be doing, you know, full drifts around the circuit if you like. Just putting it back in this M mode again because this is so much fun. Whoa! Man, even in second gear there, at going very fast, it kicks out at the top of the RPM there. You know, this thing revs out to like 7,500. So you get anywhere close to 7,000, and this car, it feels very kind of sketchy. You know, you really got to be focused and grip that wheel a lot. So, you know, it is a serious car in that M mode. And just because I can, I'm going to do another one. Oh my goodness, man. It is like, it's honestly a roller coaster, this thing. Man, no wonder you see these cars so many times on the internet just chewing tires, you know, in Moscow, because it's just so easy to do. You know, you really got to be paying attention, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble driving through the, you know, the CBD in this thing if you're in M mode. Now, BMW also came out with a M4, which you might recognize, and to be honest, I think if I was going to go for one, I would take the M3, because they really are the exact same car. So, you know, one is a coupe, the M4, this is a sedan, the M3, but essentially they're the same car, just with 2 less doors, you know, or 2 more doors. The M4 only really benefits from about a 20 kilo weight reduction. So, you know, in all honesty, it's stuff all. And I think I much would prefer to have the practicality of the back seats, because they really are usable. Now, 0 to 100. Well, let's get this thing into launch control. So first off, you turn traction control completely off. That says DSC, deactivated. Put this thing into sports mode. Make sure that the shifts are at the highest setting, which we are. And then we just rev this car. We adjust the launch settings here and launch it. So let's go. Let's go just under 3,000. 3, 2, 1. Got too much wheel spin. And we're well over 100. Shh. No, we weren't actually. That was just got to 100 legally. So, yeah, it's quick, and my goodness, this thing, it fries tires. You know, you really do have to be careful in this thing, because it gets squirrely really, really easily. And yeah, just traction is your biggest issue. Oh man, it's good. I'm gonna finish the video off here today, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this F80 M3 review. Huge thank you goes out to CarGiantWA for allowing me to review this. So a link for it is in the description. It is for sale. So as always, please go ahead and hit that like button. Consider subscribing. We'll see you on that next video.